The news can be quite a lot to process. I was at my bookshelf the other day, seeking solace as usual, looking for things to give me empathy, to give me perspective, and to help me process. And I came across 5 books that I think are great no matter your age. They're picture books, so they're really accessible to all ages. The first one is The Day the War Came. This is by Nicola Davies and illustrated by Rebecca Cobb. It's published in association with Help Refugees. This one is particularly good and impactful because I think that the main character is illustrated in a way that somehow makes her very relatable. She's very cute and sweet. And one day when she's at school, a bomb goes off and she finds that her entire town is now in the midst of the war. This character preserves an innocence as she goes through. It says, then all smoke and fire and noise that I didn't understand. This character actually does end up alone on her journey to safety, where she finds that she has trouble trusting and contemplating everything that's happened to her. But at the end, it does have an element of hope because she meets a group of people that are very empathetic and offer her a very welcoming and safe home. And it says, pushing back the war with every step. I really recommend this book in particular if you want to have a discussion about what it is like to be a young child in a war zone. The second one is The Journey by Francesca Sanna. This is endorsed by Amnesty International, and much like The War That Came, this one has really incredible illustrations that really just speak for themselves. The concept of war and tragedy is represented by these black shapes that morph and become hands or images to represent symbolically the encroaching danger. In this story is very much focused on the journey. They have to cross borders, they get turned back, they get separated, they find themselves having no clue what they're supposed to do. And what I think is most powerful about this book, and is actually very important, is this is the final page, and it says, I hope one day, like these birds, we'll find a new home, a home where we can be safe and begin our story again. I think it's really important that this book is open-ended and we don't actually see our family reach their destination. I think that that is a good way for all of us to contemplate how there are so many people who are still on the plight to find a safe home. And particularly if you're teaching students or young kids, this gives them a good opportunity to really contemplate where our characters might end up and how they might be received, and perhaps even put themselves in that position of how would I receive this family? How could I make my home the one that they want to come to? The next one is actual photojournalism, and this is Where Will I Live by Rosemary McCarney. And the back says, where do you go if your home is no longer safe? The images in this are straight out of the news, but the words that they put with it are very simple, and the photos are so impactful. I think it starts off with a really accessible beginning. Sometimes scary things happen to good people. When soldiers fight and danger comes, families must pack their things and search for a safe place to live. Then it has photos that talk about the many different ways that people needed to migrate in order to find safety. And one of the things I like best about this book is it does spend quite a bit of time in refugee camps. And I think that that's really important, that a lot of people aren't educated enough about, and their journey from there. But another great part about this book is that I love the last page, particularly if you're talking with young readers, is it says, I hope someone smiles and says, welcome home. I hope that someone is you. It really gives young people a really tangible way, an open line of discussion about how they can be the one that helps make life a lot better just by being welcoming. The next one is Malala's Magic Pencil. This is the story of Malala Yousafzai and her journey to have the right to an education under the Taliban. But what I love about this version of her story is that it's told with this magic gold pencil, and the first line says, do you believe in magic? So Throughout the story, which it tells the full story of Malala, it has this emphasis on the fact that she has the power with her magic pencil to change things that are distressing into things that have hope. And I just think it's just a really wonderful thing, especially a great way to talk about how war disturbs children's right to an education, right? Think about the wars that are happening right now. Those children are not being educated. And the last one is definitely for like older, especially adults, teens. This is really great. In my area, we have a lot of refugees who are former child soldiers, and this is Child Soldier When Boys and Girls Are Used in War. But the reason that this is so accessible is that it's basically a graphic novel. All right, these were 5 books to help you discuss, contemplate, and empathize with the concept of war. Tell me which ones you've read, and please subscribe.